most of us want to be part of the group or part of some group, hence Reddit. Hey guys, it's Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer, and welcome back to my channel. On this channel, I talk about things that interest me, and today we are headed over to the Childfree subreddit. So let's read a couple of stories from there. Okay, so here we are on Childfree. I have never read any posts from this subreddit on this channel. I usually do stuff from regretful parents, but today I thought we would actually read some stuff from Childfree people. So let's check it out. First post is called "A Friend Went from Saying They Probably Won't Have Kids to Announcing They're Trying Soon in a Matter of Weeks." I was at a restaurant with my two friends before my one friend's wedding, and to my surprise, she said she doesn't think her and her soon to be husband will have kids. I, being child free, said, "Oh wow, good for you." She went on to say how she sees her sister struggle so much with her baby and how you have to buy so much stuff. Yes. And it just seems like a lot. Well, dear girl, that's because it is a lot. And you should do a hell of a lot more research and spend a lot more time with your sister's kid before you decide to have one of your own. But I digress, as I usually do. She has a great career and is climbing the ladder, but her partner hates his job and wants to find a new career path. Anyway, that weekend, they got married. And a week and a half later, at a baby shower, I overhear her say to our other friend, who's been trying to get pregnant for a year and a half, that, quote, "maybe we can get pregnant at the same time," unquote. And I, sitting close by, said, "Oh, I thought you said you weren't going to have kids." And she said, "I never said that." I think everybody knows someone like that who just in general will say something. And then when you bring it up later, they're like, "I never said that," whether it's about kids or not. It's just about anything. Some people just like cannot commit to anything that they say. It's ridiculous. She said, "I never said that." So I said, "I just remember you talking about how hard it was for your sister with her kid, and you didn't think you would." And she said, "Oh, yeah, but he's so cute now." This is like a couple of weeks later. Pay no attention to the chihuahua behind me. Hi, Gigi. She then went on to say how her sister is probably leaving her partner because it will be easier for her. To each their own, and happy for them if that's what they want, obviously. I was just excited for the potential of another child free couple. Yeah, I would be excited for that too, but she doesn't say how old she is, but people change their mind, and then they probably end up on the Regretful Parents subreddit. And let's look at some of the top comments. This person says, "My friend went from crying because of a late period, saying she can't afford it, to planning one in 3 months. We're all in the same boat here." This person responds, "Yo, what financial change happened in 3 months? Can she share her secret to suddenly being able to afford it? Not that I want a baby, but I do love European vacations." This person says, "One of the best pieces of advice I got as a child-free person was to not put too much stock into what other people say about having or not having kids. A lot of things change, and constantly being disappointed over the choices of others is not a good use of time or energy." Very true. I needed to be reminded of that too, because oh God, when I worked as a massage therapist at different offices around town, I would work on women who would come in all the time. It seemed like there was always one in the office coming in saying, "Oh, I'm pregnant. I'm newly pregnant." And with regard to massage, if they were still in the first trimester, I had to say, "Out. Can't get massage in the first trimester." But every time someone would come in any situation and say, I'm pregnant. Like, my first gut reaction is to be like, oh, sorry, or why? Why would you burden yourself like that? But as she says, to each their own. And I guess you don't know until you try it, right? But with a kid, you're not sending it back to customer service. And it really seems like some people just don't get that part. This person goes on. Instead, I was encouraged to focus on where people are at right now and then adjust if their lives shift in a way that doesn't align with mine. Someone responded, very true. I had a friend say she and her husband weren't actively preventing pregnancy, but they weren't going to do a bunch of IVF if it didn't happen for them. I thought, yeah, fair enough. Now they're pregnant after, it turns out, several rounds of very expensive IVF, which is a very poorly kept secret for some reason. Of course, it's not like they said they wouldn't have kids, but I don't really understand you lying about your IVF. Bizarre behavior. Yeah, well, maybe she changed her mind about getting IVF later. I mean, you never know. This person says, I had this issue throughout my 30s. Friends said they weren't interested in having kids and then were pregnant within a year. I think they say things like that so they don't jinx it. My friend tried for 3 years, and that whole time she said she didn't want kids to protect herself and stop prying questions. Well, fair enough, I mean, it's nobody's business if you're trying to get pregnant, and you don't want to be that idiot that's yelling, I'm trying to get pregnant, and announcing it to everyone, because what if it doesn't happen? Like she's saying, that's could be the case. She goes on, I'm 44 now, happily child-free, and most of my friends have at least 2 kids, but that's life and it happens. I'm still in touch with my parent friends, but I've made new friends without kids as well. I'd say friendships just naturally fizzle out anyway in life, whether you have kids or not. True, can be very true. I've been friends with people for decades, and then eventually you just grow apart. And it's sad, but that's life. She goes on, you can be there for her. My friends with kids love it when we meet one-to-one and can finally talk about adult stuff. But do expect her to go off grid for the next couple of years or so. Just let her know you're always there if you need her. I think she means if she needs you, but whatever. For real, this person says, for real, my brother pulls more than his fair share with his family, is incredibly considerate of his wife, but he never has any time or sleep. He's always tired and lucky to read, game, or watch anything to relax. You'd think her sister's situation would at least rattle her, or have her owning up to having trepidation. Yeah, you would think that, but people get very influenced by the people around them, by their family, She doesn't want to be left out or something. Next post. Kids ruin music and everything good in life. So, I was looking at my memories on Snapchat, and 7 years ago, I was at Austin City Limits, which happens to be going on right now. And I had some snippets of a wonderful singer. I spent about a solid hour Googling and searching through social media to try and find the band. I found her personal profile, and her bio says, just trying to make stay-at-home mom life feel like this. Arrow cloud emoji, I think? I'm beyond disappointed. She is such a talented singer with a beautiful voice, and her music would have done so well today. The band page doesn't even exist anymore, or if it does, it's impossible to find. I was able to find them on YouTube, and there's maybe 20 tracks I can listen to. Maybe they left music behind for some unrelated reason, but going from playing at popular music festivals, no joke, ACL is a big deal these days. You don't get on their stage by not being really good. Maybe she's happy now, maybe I'm being selfish, but I had hoped to see her be a successful musician. The band is called Swells. Oh, okay. Honestly, Butter or Run for Your Life are really good songs if anyone wants to check them out. I kind of do. Okay, first comment. I know this might sound weird, but as a musician who never, quote unquote, made it myself, you should send her a note about how much you love her music and ask if she has any new projects. Playing Austin City Limits is a big deal and takes so much work to get to that point, but unless you're a headliner, it's light years away from making anything close to a living. You're gigging and working constantly. You would have to work even harder to keep momentum, but rarely getting paid enough to cover gas. Yeah, ain't that the truth? You all have day jobs to get by, so scheduling around each bandmate's job, family is an absolute nightmare. I've yet to have a band survive the scheduling and interpersonal drama. Drummer pissed off the bass player, now they're not on speaking terms, yada yada. Yes, it's possible becoming a mom ended it for her, but it's just as likely the band fell apart for other reasons, and after dedicating her all, it just felt too hard to start over. I've been there, minus the kid part, for the last 5 years, and I'm still exhausted by the thought of playing again. I still love music. My husband and I have a project we work on here and there, but I just don't have the emotional bandwidth to deal with 2 more people to make a full band. That is so true. I actually moved to Austin 25 years ago to be a blues singer. Blues and jazz is the stuff that I like to sing, and it is a grind, especially in a city like this. And there's so much hate and so much competition, and it's just a lot. So you can't just put a bunch of people in a room together and have them make a band any more than you can just put a bunch of people in a room together and have them make a family. So, but I also feel like really disappointed when I see people give up their creative pursuits to go have a kid. I mean, I get it, I guess. Like, having a kid is kind of a creative endeavor for some women. It is, anyway. But it always disappoints me. Like, what? You were a singer that made it onto the stage at ACL, which is a big fucking deal. And you now are going to just go have a baby? Like, it always makes me think, like, really? You couldn't think of anything more interesting to do than just get knocked up? I mean, it's just like the dumbest choice, the easiest choice in my mind, in a child-free person's mind. It's like, really? You're going to give up being a rock star to go get pregnant? I mean, no. So, next post. I don't want kids, so they don't turn out like me. Very valid reason not to have children. On paper, I have a great life. I have a professional degree. I make $200,000 to $300,000 a year. Nice. I didn't take any gap years and got a full ride college scholarship. Wow, smart person. I'm financially responsible with retirement funds and ample savings. I'm relatively healthy. I call my parents at least once a week. I always try to help them out. I have a significant other who is kind, financially responsible, and is my soulmate. On paper, everything looks so good. I'm a best case scenario for what you would think of for a daughter. I mean, it sounds fantastic. She goes on, but of course, my parents are disappointed. They are disappointed I didn't choose a prestigious enough field, disappointed that my partner is from a different background, and disappointed I'm not extroverted enough. And honestly, they have every right to be. I don't know about that. I mean, whose parents judge their extroversion or introversion? That seems kind of ridiculous. She goes on, the investment it took to get me here by my parents can't be understated. As an Asian American, so she's got the tiger mom, tiger parents. As an Asian American growing up in the South, I had to excel beyond in academics. My parents would do everything to give me the advantage. They tried so hard to instill their cultural values in me. They spent hours driving me places growing up to give me the best opportunities and exposure. Man, those sound like great fucking parents. I wish I had parents like that. She goes on, no matter what you do, children will make their own choices. They will choose themselves again and again. In the modern world, there is no incentive to be selfless, and many people are not. For many well-meaning parents, they want their kids to be a certain way. Liberal Democrat parents would recoil if they had gun-loving Republican kids. Immigrant parents are horrified at how American their kids are. Well, you did bring them to America, so if you grow up in America, you're going to be American. No matter how much people have tirades on unconditional love, parents are disappointed when children do not have their shared beliefs, and they have to live with that festering disappointment until they let it go, because the parent needs more help or they forget from a memory disorder. There are lucky parents whose children have the exact same worldview as them, who are spared, but I'd wager that it's probably 50 to 70% of parents, meaning there's a substantial amount that have to live with the seed of disappointment. I feel like we often talk about the scenarios, like if an adult is disabled and completely dependent, if they are violent, etc. But even if your kid has done several achievements, parents will still have disappointment that they didn't turn out exactly as they wanted. Well, that is the big crapshoot in having children. I mean, you can have this dream of having your kids be whatever it is you want to dream them to be, and they can possibly come out nothing like that. I mean, it seems like every other kid these days is autistic, like very autistic. I realize it's a spectrum and all that, but and that's just because I probably read too much of the Regretful Parents subreddit, and so many of the people on there say their kids are on the spectrum or have this, that, or the other disability. And it's just so sad because you think of the dreams that those people had for their children, for themselves, for their family, all of the great scenarios they thought of that was going to happen and doesn't happen. And your kids don't even have to be autistic to disappoint you. I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to shade autistic people. But it seems like a lot of people want children because it's an achievement for them and they want to raise a child to be a certain way. And like this person was saying, kids are going to be themselves, hopefully, because otherwise, if your kid doesn't want to be like you and you're forcing them to be like you get, a crazy kid that unalives their whole family or, does some other crazy thing. Anyway. Let's see. Here's one. Next post. Just watched the most infuriating video of some 9 to 10-year-old kid absolutely tearing up a dollar store with no parent even in the store. So this video is only about 4 minutes or so, and the guy videoing had just walked into the store, but there was already a ton of stuff this kid had knocked on the ground. I'm not talking about just looking at and playing with stuff and then just leaving it everywhere. No, this kid was purposely causing as much destruction as possible, going up and down multiple aisles, knocking everything down that he could reach on the shelves. Stock on carts that were sitting there until the staff could put them on the shelves. This little asshole knocked over the cart itself with everything on it that was still in boxes. What a little bastard. Then he ran to the back of the shipping and receiving area, but he left that area fast because staff ran back there to chase him out. He still tried, though. Luckily, most of the stuff back there was still in sealed boxes that were too heavy for him to do anything with. So he runs back out into the store, but now all the staff in the store were aware of what was going on, and the little asshole heard that cops were on the way. He tried to run out of the store, but was stopped by the staff. Good. Put the fear of God in that little brat. It unfortunately didn't show what happened when the cops got there. I really, really hope there were consequences for this. These poor workers do not get paid enough to deal with this shit, that's for damn sure. It looked like a natural disaster hit this store, but just like a 3-foot tornado or something. There was no parent anywhere. Where the hell is this kid's parents? Yeah, 9 or 10 running around by yourself? I mean, this is not the Gen X days anymore. Nobody should be letting their 9-year-old run around by themselves. I guess they just left him there to go do whatever the fuck they wanted to do. I don't care how old this makes me sound, but shit like this did not happen when I was a kid. Shit like this is why I can't stand so many parents these days. Yeah, that is like what so many child-free people say. You know, if you're somewhere and there's parents and they have little kids and the kids start screaming and the parents don't take them out of where you are, you know, they're so used to the kids screaming, they're just numb to it, and they're so exhausted, they just don't want to deal, and they just let the kids scream in public. Let it be somebody else's problem. Ridiculous. Okay. Moving on, next post, how to react to constant pregnancy announcements from friends. Yeah, I'd like to have my standard response is, oh, wow. Because I mean it like, oh, wow. It might also be a rant, but I'm curious if anyone feels the same, and if so, how you deal with it. I'm 39-year-old female, and for some reason, almost all of my close friends are married and having kids. Well, because they're all probably your age, and that's when the clock is really ticking. Many kids exist already, but there are more to come. I'm not excited about people having children. Same, girl, same. As I hardly see anyone truly fit for it. Nobody has done active, persistent work to clear their own traumas. Nobody is rich enough to be able to afford to stay home with the kids. Oftentimes, the marriages aren't that great or stable either. It's just the usual selfish decision without much concern for the future children's well-being. I obviously still love my friends and I don't want to hurt them, so when they announce yet another pregnancy, I do what is expected and I force myself to seem at least somewhat delighted, happy, and joyous, congratulate them, and ask follow-up questions that do not actually interest me at all because I know it's expected and I don't want to hurt them. It feels inauthentic, though. Yeah, because it is. As if I'm betraying myself. Well, you kind of are. If I was honest with my reaction, I'd let out a long sigh with a Gavin awkward kid meme face, say okay, and change the topic. But that's obviously uncalled for. Yeah. So is saying, oh, I'm sorry. Is the middle the way to go? Force some excitement out of politeness, and because on a more abstract level, I'm happy for my friends being happy, but not overdo it so I don't feel like I'm betraying myself too much. Yeah, that would be my guess, middle of the road. This person says, if you don't really see it as a good decision, you don't have to be involved. You're allowed to find new friends who make better decisions and don't bring kids into shitty environments. Best wishes, and fade out. Nice. Next person, nice. My usual reaction is, oh shit, what are you gonna do? That would be great. My usual reaction is similar. I'm 37 and I'm like, but we're just kids. What are you going to do? But really, I say, I'm happy for you. I mute them on social media and play the rest of the friendship by ear. I try to find new friends in the meantime. Yep, that is the way it goes. Here's another post called, My Sister is Pregnant at 40. Ugh. I've never been very good with babies and faking excitement. I usually go into mourning for the person when they announce and mask my disappointment. Yes, that is exactly how I feel. That's a great way to describe it. Go into mourning. Go into silent, private mourning for the person and mask your disappointment. She goes on, my sister is quite a bit older than me. When I was in elementary school, she was graduating from high school. My sister has 2 kids already, 13 and 10. And I can't help but feel let down by her expecting a third. Now that her kids are older and she wasn't in the baby stage, it was like we were finally almost in the same stage of life, and it was easier for us to talk. She had experienced my mom during her party stage, and I had experienced my mom during her gluten-free stage. So it was almost like we had 2 different moms. Wow, that's pretty wild. I kind of feel bad for the kid because you never really connect with your siblings when there's such a large age gap. Your only common denominator is which relatives you both hate. She's going to go through menopause while this third kid is still in elementary school, let alone the horrifying idea of being pregnant at 40. When I got my tubes tied, she was disappointed with me. She told me she would pray for me. Oh, fuck off. I've been a bit of a black sheep in the family, so dreading the constant stories about morning sickness. Yeah, because that's a thing, when you're pregnant, that's all you talk about. Or for most women, it is. This top comment told me she would pray for me. Quote, Dear Lord, I ask that you look over my sister. Watch after her as she sleeps in on Saturdays, watches TVMA programming, and takes vacations on a whim. Make sure she's blessed with all the happiness and peace this world can provide. Amen. Okay, let's do a couple more. Ads. Children have their uses. My housemate's toddler, 2.5 years old, is staying over for a few days. Not my favorite thing, but whatever. I'm barely home this week, so meh. The good bit? My other housemate's cat became afraid of me for a while, and he's been slowly getting better. Tonight, he invited himself into my room when I wasn't there, when the toddler had a tantrum. I'm not the scariest thing in the house anymore, so me and Cat are buds again. Toddlers have their uses. Who knew? Here's one. A baby was like a designer bag, and now reality has hit. It happened. She admitted to me how much she hates her life. Oh, we have a regretful parent here. I have a friend who had a baby last year, but before that, she had a miscarriage. And she made sure to get pregnant again ASAP. When mutual friends and some of her cousins started having babies, she saw having a baby as the new designer bag that she just had to have. She seemed to not want to be left out. Well, that is human nature. I mean, we are pack animals, so, we want to, most of us want to be part of the group or part of some group, hence Reddit. Her husband didn't want to try again and give it some time after her miscarriage, but she would have none of that and announced her second pregnancy 4 months later. Her social media posts became all about being pregnant and miscarriages, posting awareness content on postpartum and loss of a child. Once the baby was born, motherhood stories and reels galore, basically just using the baby as a prop. When she called me last weekend crying, well, She called me last weekend crying. She said she hates that no one talks to her for her anymore and always wants to know and discuss the baby. She said she feels like she doesn't even have her own life and hobbies because it's all mommy brain 24/7. Well, that's what you signed up for, girl. I just listened, but it took me everything not to say, you did this to yourself. Instead, I just told her, I'm not a mom, so I don't really know what to say. I'm just sorry you're struggling right now. She said she's depressed and hates her life, and her husband doesn't even feel like her friend anymore because he tells her he feels lost in all the sacrifice of being a parent. Okay, but why are people so stupid? I don't know. I wish I knew. Kids are not something you gotta have because you want to be in some club. They change your entire life, and also the relationship with your partner changes too. Yes, it, and rarely or almost always is it a problem of some kind. Even if it's just, oh, we're madly in love still, but we don't have time together, because we're so busy taking care of the kid. It's always going to cause a change, and people just don't seem to get that. There's so many people on Reddit that list off why they miss their old life before having kids, and they could prevent all of that by not having kids. Who knew? I'm sure she notices I don't care to watch her stories anymore because I can't stand the kid crap left and right. It's not interesting to me at all. Same. I found it peculiar she chose to tell me all this when I'm the artistic creative friend who's child-free. I'm the last person who can relate to her regretting motherhood. She even asked me last year if I'd ever have kids, and I said no, because motherhood doesn't appeal to me at all, and I don't want to tuck away my dreams and passions like so many women do. Yes! Love it. First comment, no, I can understand why she did tell you, the artistic child-free friend. She can't admit that she regrets parenthood to her family or friends with kids, because while they might have sympathy, they will also have judgment and dismiss her feelings in, oh, you don't feel that way, you're just tired, it'll get better kind of comments. Yeah, you see that a lot. Everybody's saying, oh, it gets better, it gets better. And then every once in a while on the Regretful Parents subreddit, someone will say, you know what? My kid is 18 and it never got better. It only just kept getting a different kind of worse. Let's see, any other... She probably also feels self-conscious when she compares her life with these parents' lives. She thinks they're not struggling and that they're absolutely thriving. So opening up to them and hearing how they're having a better time with parenthood than she is would make her feel even worse. Very, very true. Okay, one more. So let's end this post on a happy note. Here's one called, How's Your Saturday, Gang? Mine's pretty fucking awesome. I got up lazy-ish and cooked a delicious egg and wilted greens toast and did a lot of stretching this morning. I figured out my plan of attack to start my master's degree. Congrats. And I headed out on my bike. On said bike, I went to REI and befriended this awesome lady who's a huge nerd. She gave me some resources to help fix my friend's oscilloscope she's been working on, and we talked about bikes for like an hour. From there, I headed to this bike co-op to drop off some parts, and then onto a leather store to patch my favorite jeans with leather. That's interesting. The leather shop folks gave me some pizza and Red Bull, and that lasted me the rest of the way home, 35 miles total. Also, I got catcalled twice on the way back home, which is both gross and euphoric. Gross and euphoric for me as a trans girl. Good for her. Got back home and showered, really feeling restful, then called my long-distance girlfriend. We had some over-the-phone hand-holding And I just had a spiked iced tea and made some damn good stir fry for a late dinner. Wow, today's been packed but great. Tomorrow I'm planning on playing some Beat Saber at a friend's house, going skateboarding with some other friends, doing a sauna cold plunge, and watching over the garden wall and snuggling up with a different partner. Hope your day was also great, or at least much less shitty than it would be with kids in it. And good night. Love it. So, some of the comments of what people were doing on this particular Saturday, I want to say I thought I commented on this. I went to a family event held by my dad's work out at a farm, picked some apples, watched pig races. Wow. Watched pumpkins get launched from cannons, and had a great time. Then I went to a soccer game tonight with my brother and his wife. I'm very tired. Next person, potentially causing family drama by spilling tea whilst waiting to see if these motherfucking northern lights are actually going to show up. This is the third night of potential solar storm we've been waiting for. So far, nada. Sky's even the clearest I've seen it in ages, but no. And someone replied, I'm manifesting that shit for you and spill that fucking tea within reason. Next person. So I'll try to make this comprehensible as I'm off to bed. Cousin R, love him to bits, absolute sweetheart, is married to S, cannot stand her. She's from a long line of fatten them up so they can't run away. What? Fatten them up so they can't run away. Oh, meaning her husband. Ew. Ma'am, come on. What the fuck? She goes on, who then wonder why they all croak before 60 from some form of organ failure. S has said to my mother, L, to her face, that she's not family and shouldn't have been invited to insert family function here at L's sister's house, no less. God, these people are rude. My little sister basically worships the ground S walks on. There is literally nothing she can do wrong. While Sis and I were talking about cousin being in the hospital for heart failure, surprise, surprise, I griped about S fattening up R. Sis made excuses for her. I quipped back about what she said to Mom. Sis had no idea and made more excuses. So I may be waking up this evening to voicemails from Mom if this wasn't something Sis was supposed to know. Well, that wasn't a fun Saturday. Here's another one. Wow, you did a lot. Sounds exhausting, but a lot of fun. My Saturday was pretty good. Friends and I admittedly went a little overboard with appetizers and drinks at this new trendy little restaurant, but everything was great. And none of us have kids, so the overspending is not the end of the world. I saw a play afterwards, which was a lot of fun. Today I'll probably stay in, relax, and do some chores. Oh, yes. My day is starting with chores too, and that sounds fabulous. Yes, I am also a fan of cleaning. I'm one of those cleaning nerds that I just get a good dopamine hit when I organize part of my environment. Maybe it's a control thing. I don't know. Next person, I currently have bronchitis and I'm exhausted, still taking care of myself. I made a good lunch for hubby and me. I picked up a bit of the mess that have been accumulating lately, and I'm looking forward to a good warm bath this afternoon. Then I will prepare stuff for work tomorrow and relax with my husband. Last comment is, it's Sunday now, but my partner and I have just been chilling at home since we just got back to Canada late on Friday from a trip to the UK. And that's all I have for you today, guys. If you like this kind of Reddit reaction content, please do let me know down in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.